The Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Remaster has officially aired, and I have some thoughts, and they are not too positive. Hello, everyone! It's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. So the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Remaster was announced at the last Jump Festa, which of course was December of 2024, and it did just air this past weekend on TV Tokyo in Japan. Before I even get to my thoughts, I do want to say two things. One, stay tuned to this video because we actually have an animator, his name is Galaxy Eyes, that worked on Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush that is going to be giving his thoughts later in the video, an audio excerpt. So kind of an expert, someone that's in the animation field, will be giving his thoughts on the GX Remaster, someone who's also a big Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan. And the other thing is, I know a lot of people will ask, oh, how can I watch this? How can I watch this? As I've said this entire time, if you've watched my content, I did not think this was going to be released internationally, and what do you know, it is not going to be released internationally. Unless you have a VPN, you cannot watch the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Remaster. It is only for Japanese audiences. There are no plans for any sort of international release. It is on their YouTube channel, I believe, but again, you would need a VPN to access those videos and those episodes. So that's the first thing, right? It's already very annoying to me that, like, they are, in a way, gatekeeping this from audiences that aren't in Japan. I don't know why Konami seems to do this. Like, they just made a YouTube channel where they are uploading all Yu-Gi-Oh! Episodes and they're streaming Yu-Gi-Oh! Episodes, and yet, like, you can't watch them if you don't live in Japan. I don't know why they like to differentiate their audiences between local and international, because there are a lot of international fans that love watching the original subbed Yu-Gi-Oh! More so than the dub, and I just don't know why they don't give us an option to watch both. And they want it to just be, hey, if you live outside of this country, you have to watch the dubs. If you live within this country, then you can watch the original version. So that's already annoying. But, you know, when the GX Remaster was announced, there were a lot of people that were very excited by this. There was a lot of misinformation being peddled by people that were not even in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. Like, I saw a lot of general anime YouTubers even tweeting about this and acting as if this was going to be like a new show or a sequel, you know, not even knowing what the word remaster meant. A few people had said, oh, season 4 is going to get dubbed, even though this has nothing to do with the English side or the dub side. And my concern is that this was going to be exactly what the DM remaster was. A lot of people don't even realize that we had a Duel Monsters remaster, but we already did. And that was never released outside of Japan. And that was literally them just scaling from a 4:3 ratio to a 16:9 ratio to an HD ratio. And here are some images. Here's a great image of Elemental Hero Flame Wingman being summoned. You can see in the original, he beautifully fits to the screen. And you can see in the remaster, and this is from episode 1, his head is cut off because all they do is stretch the screen to make it widescreen. They are not redrawing any of these scenes. They did add a couple of, like, shading effects to some scenes, but, like, this happened with the DM remaster too, and this was my biggest concern, that it was just going to be like a cropping disaster, and it was going to be something that anyone with a little bit of editing skills could make in their basement if they had it on their computer. Camtasia or Adobe Premiere, you could literally replicate what they are doing, and that was, like, not very exciting to me. And so when this announcement was made, I was very, very not looking forward to it, because I just feel like there are so many cooler ways to celebrate Yu-Gi-Oh! GX's 20th anniversary. I mean, this is being done under the guise of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX 20 years, let's celebrate it. But to me, it's almost like borderline insulting to release something like this, where you're cropping out essentially the tops and bottoms of images because you're not redrawing, you're just rescaling. And there are so many better options that you could have went if you wanted to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I'm going to give you 3. The first one, how about you animate a few chapters of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX manga? If you don't want to do the whole manga, that's fine. But if you said, hey, we're going to do the first 10 chapters of the GX manga and we're going to do a special episode or 2 episodes, I think that would excite a lot of people. I know I would be over the moon to hear an announcement like that, even if it wasn't going to to be the entire GX manga. Option 2, a Yu-Gi-Oh! GX movie. It doesn't need to be a theatrical release. It can be a straight-to-DVD release. We've seen this with movies, especially in the anime space a little more commonly now. But you do a Yu-Gi-Oh! GX movie. It can be about an hour long or 90 minutes. It doesn't need to be the length of Dark Side of Dimensions. And I think that would be extremely exciting. So that's another option you could have done. And if you don't want to do a GX movie because it's a little too grand scale and they seem to just not want to do movies, you know, it's been 10 years since we've gotten the last Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, and who knows if we're ever going to get another Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie. How about a GX like OVA episode? You do an episode where Judai runs into Manjome 3 or 4 years after the series came to an end, and they duel for 20 or 30 minutes using new cards. You could have Alexis there, you could have Cyrus there, you could have Zay, you know, characters make appearances throughout the episode, but you do a 20 to 30 minute OVA episode. You're telling me that you can't commission a studio, whether it's Studio Gallop or whoever, to do like one episode for you for like a special release to honor the anniversary of a series. Heck, how about you even make it in-house now that you have your own Konami animation studio? Like, I imagine the time that you would have to spend either doing like 1 or 2 episodes of the GX manga or an OVA for the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series is probably equal to or less than going through 180 episodes of this GX Remaster and re-releasing stuff that we've already seen that almost looks worse because it's not made for that widescreen ratio. Again, showing you that cropped image, and there's going to be plenty of these throughout this quote-unquote remaster. So those are 3 things that I think would have been so much cooler, that I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, especially the GX diehards, would have been overjoyed with. And I just can't help but feel like this is another missed opportunity on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime side to really give us anime fans something cool, something new, something exciting. And unfortunately, we got this. I didn't really love the DM remaster. I think there's a reason you don't hear anybody talk about the DM remaster. And if they weren't going to go all out for their baby, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, their most popular series, I knew that Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was going to get the same, if not worse, treatment, where it's not released outside of Japan, where it's cropped and doesn't look really good in widescreen, and where it's just like the same stuff with no redrawings or anything. So I do just feel very annoyed by this overall and disappointed. I'm not surprised. You can go back 4 months ago to my December video, and I said all this. I said this is what was going to happen, but I still can't help but feel disappointed. I want to let you guys hear from Galaxy Eyes, someone who has animated for Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime before, giving his thoughts on the GX Remaster.
Hello everyone, my name is Galaxy Eyes. I'm sort of the animation guy within the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. I'm also an animator. I'm working freelance within the animation industry, so you can probably find my work on my various accounts. So yeah, I've been asked with giving my professional opinion about the GX remasters. Yeah, I don't really like the remasters very much. So yeah, reason being because of the way it was formatted. You see, GX was originally released when television used the 4:3 aspect ratio, which is the square box that we all used to watch back in the day. And what TV Tokyo did was formatted for the current 16:9 aspect ratio, which is the wide rectangle screens that we all use, like on our laptops, TV, all that kind of stuff. So basically what that does is crop the whole image, like half the original image of the original show, and pretty much just give us some cropped and lesser version of the old show. So yeah, basically you'll end up having this lesser version of the show that's cropped out with pieces of like characters' heads missing, maybe their hands, etc. And on top of that, you have a ton of ghosting. And what I mean by that is like all the after images you'll see when you pause on like a moving frame of the episode. So the end product is this blurry, ghosted mess of an episode. It's honestly really, really bad. So yeah, this honestly really could have been a really good remaster had they just upscaled the image like they did, for this remaster and just kept it in the original aspect ratio. As you can see, that if you maybe see at the comparisons, you'll see that the colors are a lot more brighter, they're saturated, the backgrounds are clearer, all that kind of stuff. Like, all this needs is just release it in the original aspect ratio and just retweak the original image to like get rid of the ghosting. That's really all you need to make this like the perfect remaster. Now, whether this release was necessary, well, for people like me who kind of love to get the best version of their favorite shows in the best quality possible, honestly, this again could have really been really great, but they just messed it up entirely and just completely. So yeah, while it's nice to have this wide screen image that can fit on your widescreen TVs or your computer or whatever, you are cropping out the work of a lot of really talented people. Takahiro Kagami himself even complained about the Duel Masters remaster, because you have to understand, these shows were animated and storyboarded with the 4:3 aspect ratio in mind. So if you like mess with that in any way, you're just gonna get a really bad product. All in all, this honestly could have been a better release, honestly, than what we got. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the GX Remaster. Thank you, Dylan, for inviting me to your video. Thank you, everyone, for having me. And yeah.
A massive thank you to Galaxy Eyes for taking the time out to give me that excerpt. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing from him. I mean, that is someone who is a freelance animator in the anime industry, has animated for Yu-Gi-Oh! Before. So that is someone who knows what they're talking about. And you hear it over and over how he just feels like this is a poor remaster. There's better ways to do it. And, you know, I just think from the perspective of honoring Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, there's better things that GX fans and people like me would have liked to see, which is not rehashing the old show, but giving us something new, even if it's not as grand scale as a movie. OVA, GX manga would have been, I think, 1,000 times cooler than what we are getting and what we will be getting for the next 3.5 years. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. I would love to know all of your thoughts on the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Remaster. Wanted to make this video now that it's officially out, and I was hoping that, you know, the video I made in December would be actually proven wrong if they were going to remaster it in a different way and maybe like redraw some scenes and was going to release it internationally to all audiences, but sadly that is not the case. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.